All right, gang, welcome to Strangeville. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin Strange. I'm a 20-year veteran of the underground, cartoonist, novelist, independent filmmaker, and I am here today to share my love of comic books with you, and this might end up being the most autistic explanation of the pencil and ink dynamic between artists, how American comic books are made, the trade-off between the job of the penciler versus the job of the inker, how much weight of the actual art is put off, the responsibility of the art is put off on the penciler versus the inker. We're going to get all into it by way of Greg Capullo's CREECH 3-issue miniseries here. This is book 1. Book 1, book 2, book 3. Greg Capullo is the longtime penciler on Spawn. Greg Capullo has probably penciled hundreds of issues of Spawn. He decided at some point in the 90s, is it the 90s? He does this miniseries all fucked up where he puts the credits in the back. I don't even know if there's a date on here. 97. He decides at some point in 1997, after he's already been working on Spawn for years, and he continues to work on Spawn while he decides he's going to do this 3-issue miniseries of this character he calls the CREECH. Very cool character design. He is going to continue his process of being the penciler on this. Here's our credits in the back of the book. Creator, writer, penciler, Greg Capullo, and Danny, is it Mika? They want to get all precious with their credits and do some kind of a fucking cursive fucking ink line there in white. Can't hardly tell what the fuck. Everybody's name is there. Danny Mickey is going to be the inker. We're going to go through this and we're going to talk about it after I shill the Patreon for Sam Hatter, a.k.a. Sam Hater, left us a comment this past week. Quit rambling about your Patreon. Nobody cares. We love our patrons here at the channel. And we encourage everyone to become a patron and help us help us financially to run the channel. The lifeblood. The patrons are the lifeblood of the channel. And you get cool shit when you become a patron for only $3 a month, gang. Let me find it. Where is it at? Here's the Patreon. For only $3 a month, you gain access to 20 years of comics, novels, and feature films from the twisted mind of Kevin Strange. That's right. You get Space Worms, the graphic novel. Count Capullo, my brand new book, just came out in October. Death to Strangeville, Wizard of Ganj, Too Many Dabs. You get Neon Guts. You get Nixon and Hogan Hate Comics. You get so many. You get Rocco and Sarsarilla's Sickmas Time story. You get so many comic books. Plus, I've written 18 novels and made 7 feature films. You gain access to all of that material for only $3 a month. Let's take a look. Let's do a roll call, gang. Patreon roll call. Patron roll call coming up now. We got Savage Splendor, Dark Lord Carrion, 666 Yoshi, Alien on LSD, Joseph Stark, Loudpack Productions, Dave Baxter, Jason German, Mutant Minds, Joshua Wise, Jeremy Maddox, Nirvana, Andrew Varble, and our newest patron, Darren Oni. Thank you, gang, for financially supporting the channel. If you want to see your name in the shouts, go ahead and hit that link in the description and become a patron today. So the CREECH, his Greg Capullo's miniseries he did while penciling Spawn. He wants you to know that he didn't even miss an issue. He goes into business for himself here when it's his book, so I guess he has every right to go into business for himself. I don't know who he's referencing here. Maybe you guys know, but he spends this entire length of this section in the back complaining about lazy artists who would rather go hobnob at conventions than do their work, that their books are all late, and that they don't put half the effort he puts into his books that are all on time. I don't know who he's talking about. There he is. He's mad, and he goes. He does a promo here in the back of CREECH #2 that just lays into somebody. If you know who he's laying into, what he's referencing, hit the comments and let me know. I'm not gonna. I could sit here and read that, and I could make that the focus of this CREECH review. But I am much more excited to talk about the how the weight of work is distributed between pencilers and inkers, because I have a lot of different I have some really cool examples that I want to show that involve Greg Capullo and some other guys to really kind of showcase how much effort the penciler puts in versus how much effort the inker puts into this, by way of this really coolly drawn. This just looks like Spawn, right? Because Greg Capullo, basically Todd McFarlane trained Greg Capullo to pencil like him, so that like Todd McFarlane's version of Spawn, so that when Todd or anybody else had to ink over Greg Capullo, it would look like Spawn, look like Todd McFarlane's Spawn, which immediately sort of leans toward Greg Capullo doing the majority of the work, right? The inker's just kind of putting black lines over Greg Capullo's pencils. And there are so many different ways to make comic books. There are so many ways to delineate the workload amongst the people who work on the books. Some big creators like Mike Mignola or Frank Miller, or Kevin Eastman, once they get real famous and big, and they don't want to work on interiors anymore, some of them still retain, look at that, nice centerfold of the CREECH. Fantastic. It's raining outside. There's cars ripping by. You know how the studio works here, gang. You get all this accompaniment, all this accoutrement that comes along with a Kevin Strange video. Look at that shot of CREECH right there. So those guys, like, they want to retain sort of the creative control of a book, so they will do what's called layouts. And so a layout are going to be these, and it varies how much detail that the layout designer is going to put into the work. They could be very simple thumbnails. They could be very, very complex thumbnails. But the layout, so if you've got a Mike Mignola issue of Hellboy, and it is laid out by him. He's doing the writing and he's doing the layout. So he's going to decide how many panels and what is going in the panels. Decides this is a splash page, and he's going to give you a rough version of what he wants this to look like on the splash page. And he's going to go through the whole book and he's going to lay it out. And so the penciler, the next guy that comes along in the line, the penciler is going to follow closely to that rough outline of what the layout guy chose to do. Now, in the instance of Greg Capullo, he's doing the writing and the penciling. There is no layout credited here. He's going all the way to the pencils. So he's going beyond layouts. He's doing all the pencils, and then he's got this guy that comes over and inks on top of him. So Greg's doing what you would call sort of the lion's share of work on this book, and then the inker comes over and adds the blacks, and adds the volume, is what they like to say. And there's a famous scene in my favorite Kevin Smith book where Holden and Benke are at a convention, or at a comic book convention at the beginning of the movie, and they're selling their comic and signing autographs, and Benke gets called a tracer. Well, what is a fucking inker anyway? All you do is trace, and he gets all mad and he starts trying to defend what inkers are, and that they're not just tracing over pencils, that they're actually adding volume and depth and all these different elements to the pencils. And depending on the workload, sometimes that's true, and sometimes they really are just sort of sketching over the top of what of the pencil. And in this case, where this is Greg Capullo's book, the inker's not going to go into business for himself and do a bunch of crazy. It's a lot of rendering. There's a lot of ink rendered on the page there, but more than likely Greg Capullo has all that rendering in there, and the inker can just come in and basically trace over it. So let's look at the difference between this. What is this fucking guy's name? Danny Mickey. Let's look at the difference between Danny Mickey's inking over Greg Capullo and an issue of Spawn, where Todd McFarlane is doing the inks over the top of Greg Capullo. And there's another guy, Mark Pennington, but I think we can figure out this is probably Mark Pennington. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to figure out what is Todd McFarlane inking and what is the other guy. I'm going to say, well, let's keep looking, because I don't necessarily think that's Todd McFarlane. But we'll hit a point where it's undeniably Todd McFarlane. And I think we're in it. I think this is Todd stuff. I had a page earlier that I was looking at. I'm pretty sure this is all Todd stuff. But you can just see the difference in what Todd's gonna draw over the. I mean, that's heavily rendered, far beyond what a pencil can do, versus that shot, which is pretty much just, you can get almost all the way here with pencils and then just draw on the top of that. And of course, it would be way easier to have black and white. The color muddles it up a little bit too, but something like that, Todd McFarlane, that's going to be Todd. You can tell by the drapery of the one of Todd's specialties is doing fabric, and the way it hangs and the way it lays. Todd has a really specific way he does that of course he taught Greg to do as well. And the reason I'm saying maybe this might not be Todd, and it might be, but the reason I don't think so is because there's just not a lot of noodling to it. This could all get here 90% of the way here with the pencils, whereas Todd is going. It's just there's not a lot added to that couldn't be done in pencils, and that might be Todd. Like this middle panel is indicative of a lot of Todd noodling and the fucked up teeth and everything. But again, that's stuff that those teeth wouldn't necessarily be constructed in the inking phase. That's going to be Greg's. I think that's like 100% Todd McFarlane inking. He likes to do the eyes and the teeth and set everything else back to black, and then just that the facial structure there and the noodly hair. Those are hallmarks of Todd McFarlane. The hands, he always makes these like puppet hands that turn and twist, and he did that with Spider-Man. He would always have Spider-Man's fingers, each finger would all be sort of going into business for itself, and you can see each finger trying to hold on to this gun. Every finger is going wildly. It would be very surprising to me if this wasn't a Todd McFarlane page, where he would take these elements that Greg did, and he would add flourishes to it. That's not tracing the lines that Greg made, but Greg may have had a straighter hand here, and then Todd just because Todd had the general layout and composition of the hand and the gun and the head, he was then able to go over and just go to work and go into business for himself and add all the Todd McFarlane-isms to it. And I've actually seen Todd in an interview talk about he can ink over anybody's pencils and make it Todd McFarlane and make it look like Todd McFarlane, make it look like this. And the reason that Todd doesn't want to go to all the trouble of doing the pencils, he just wants to ink, is because all of the so when you do layouts, so Todd doesn't want to do layouts. Like Mike Mignola wants to do layouts in Hellboy, and then let other artists take a crack at it. What Todd wants is he wants the composition, which includes doing any kind of, and there's not it doesn't look like there's a lot of perspective in this book. It doesn't look like there's a lot of wide shots with buildings and stuff that would require perspective. You can eyeball anything like this. You can eyeball the perspective of this. You're not drawing out a grid to put CREECH, suspend him from some wires like Jesus, and then have a gnarly looking doctor in the foreground. You don't need perspective shots for that. But that's the kind of stuff that the penciler is going to have to do. And again, I don't even think this is a sort of a city shot. But again, I don't necessarily think that was gridded out. It looks like that's probably eyeballed. Most of that stuff's not exactly. If we sat here and drew lines over where the horizon line is and where the eyes line up versus the horizon line, and how these buildings all interact with each other based on perspective and the vanishing point and the horizon line, I don't think it's going to add. I don't think it's going to match up, but it's good enough because you can eyeball a lot of that stuff and not worry about it. Something like this here might be you might have to do a little bit of work in perspective to get it where it needs to be. And so Todd wants you to do all that. When you're penciling for Todd wants you to worry about the perspective grids, and he wants you to worry about getting the composition and everything right. And once you've dropped in your composition here to do sort of these buildings back here with these cars coming by in perspective, then he wants to go over and ink it. He doesn't want to have to spend, because you're spending, time wise, I mean, you could noodle. You can sit and noodle as an inker and noodle for days and days and days. You can put 10,000 veins into CREECH's arm here, and you can spend the same amount of time as a penciler. But the penciler's doing, I guess what you would say, is like the not fun work, the technical work. The penciler, when they're laying out the panels, has to do all the technical work to make it look right, and then the inker can go in and noodle away and sort of enhance what the penciler has already added to it. I've got some more examples that I want to show you guys. If you remember, I did want to mention, by the way, when I talked about Chasing Amy and Kevin Smith earlier, of course I do have the Clerks collection, and I do have all of these. It's a big thick boy, and I do have that Jim Mahfood Clerks collection, and we will be going over this in autistic detail, just like I do all the rest of the stuff. And this is Kevin Smith. If you ever wondered, if you don't know, and you ever wondered what Kevin Smith dialogue would look like in comic book form, it's a fucking mess. Kevin Smith does not write for comics. Kevin Smith writes for movies, and so his comic book dialogue looks like movie dialogue. But anyway, we will get to that. We will talk about that. But if you remember, we did a video a while back, and if you don't remember and you haven't seen it, go back and look at my video that's called "The Joker is a Satanist," and I go over this awesome series of books with art by Kelly Jones and John Beatty. And in that book, in that review, I actually wonder out loud if this is Kelly Jones or if it's John Beatty on the that's creating these fucking crazy faces throughout the book. John Beatty's on inks, but the question is, are these faces being constructed in the penciling process or in the inking process? That was my question that I posed, and I didn't have an answer for it. Well, I found these Alien Hive comics that I have, that they have all the art, all art by Kelly Jones. So he is penciling and inking himself, and then colors added on top of it. So we can actually see the difference between a Kelly Jones face when he's inking himself versus a Kelly Jones face when John Beatty is inking over the face, and it's fucking night and day. It is clear to me that John Beatty is a face guy, and so again, the delineation of labor and effort between pencils and inks varies wildly between teams. And I'm telling you that when they did these Batman comics together, John Beatty went fucking ham on these faces. This ain't Kelly Jones. This is John Beatty. So bonus, drop a F in the comments for the fucking fire truck that came by in this video, gang. It's a fucking mess. I live right by City Hall. It's a small little ghetto town, and you know they're always out there doing some shenanigans. But you can see, and even, not to take away from how awesome Kelly Jones is as an artist by himself, doing these great fucking aliens and stuff, but his faces do not come close. They don't hold a candle to a John Beatty face. Beatty, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. John Beatty. I thought that was really cool as a way to sort of contrast what. Look at this face. Look at this face versus this face, and you can see it in it. You can see the Kelly Jones in these faces, but that's John Beatty really hitting it. Kelly Jones face. That's not even, and this guy, he doesn't even go ham on this guy. And it still there's just something to it, right? There's a depth, there's a panache that Kelly Jones, he just don't have it. He don't have it the same way. And I really like it when we get to the to the demon stuff. Whew. That's good stuff. And I think that does a pretty good job explaining how the delineation of labor works between comic books, between comic book pencilers and comic book inkers by way of this cool little miniseries by Greg Capullo. I don't think it's great. It is cool. It's this like cyberpunk crazy story of this doctor who mind melds with this creature, and then while he's in the middle of look at that tank. That's a killer tank. And while he's fucking mind melded, while his mind's in the monster, this group shows up and has the doctor's in this, like, this is the little head unit, little helmet that he's uses to like put his consciousness into the CREECH's body, and they fucking pull this plug out, which like exposes a hole right to his forehead, and they fucking shoot him in the forehead, and they think they kill him, but it turns out that he's able to get his consciousness back into the CREECH That's police. We got take a shot for the fire truck and take a shot for the cop car. Drove by while we were trying to do a video. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday, gang. It's an awesome shot of CREECH here in issue 2. And so this becomes like they take this guy. This guy's like a reporter that was like tracking them or whatever, and they're gonna kill him. This is like the assistant to the doctor. He thinks the doctor's dead, and this is basically a revenge tale where the CREECH is gonna come back and kill these guys. Somehow this black woman with a baby gets caught up in the shenanigans, and we've got Nazis. We've got skinhead Nazis terrorizing black women, because of course we do, because it's the 1990s and these white guys are drawing black. You know, this is Greg Capullo has been on Spawn for years, which is a black character, and Todd McFarlane created these black characters, and so it's white knight, white savior syndrome. These guys have to constantly put blacks in danger and then save them from evil white skinheads with swastikas carved into their foreheads, because of course they do. And so CREECH takes out the skinhead Nazis in horrific ways. This guy somehow has has access to a rocket launcher, and there's a really cool scene where the guy tries to shoot off the rocket, and CREECH just fucking destroys the van, and yeah, really cool looking. And then saves the black baby, because of course he does. CREECH has to save a black baby because they can't help themselves. The white saviors, they can't help themselves. They have to create implausible situations and then be the heroes of those situations. Very 90s, very 80s, 90s thing. Doesn't happen anymore. Now the blacks just it's still the skinhead Nazis, and they're still terrorizing blacks in completely unrealistic ways, but now the blacks take care of themselves, which honestly is probably at least a step in the right direction away from the cringy white savior trope. I actually didn't think I was going to get into that, because I decided to go in the other direction with the pencil and ink comparisons and stuff, but I still managed to cram it in here near the end of the video. Another great shot of the CREECH. This is a book that is like most Image comics, is probably better to be looked at than read. So CREECH like dissolves down into nothing. We have these these monsters that Greg Capullo came up with that basically just look like Violator, little variations of the Violator demons from Spawn. Which again, if you're into Spawn, you'll love this book. It's definitely worth looking at. There's always black and white art at the beginning of the issues. It's a 3-issue series. This is issue 3, and it's just beautiful black and white art at the beginning. And I mean, you can't complain. I mean, this CREECH just looks great. What a great character. I know they did another miniseries of this guy years later, but man, I mean, maybe it didn't sell well, but what a missed opportunity to make this an ongoing. I mean, I guess you can't do an ongoing when you're the penciler on fucking Spawn every month, but look at that. Look at all that noodling. Oh yeah, that's the CREECH's arm, and that's the tentacles that come out of the back of his head. And that's his leg, if you're wondering what the hell you're looking at there. And these alien things that look just like demons from Spawn, they're really cool. I think we get a lot of them in book 3. That's an awesome shot. That's a cyberpunk classic cyberpunk shot there. Good stuff. Look at that face. Close up of the nose and mouth. Good stuff. Great, beautiful looking book. Guy looks like a fucking clown. From Spawn. Now we have some more fucking cyborg robot vehicles. Hell yeah. That's our boy that killed the professor, killed the doctor, the scientist that has his consciousness in CREECH. And now he's got his backup. Ah, look at that. Look at that. Tell me that doesn't look like one of Violator's brothers. That's the aliens. I forget what the alien. It's like alien technology that makes the fucking consciousness transfer work in fucking CREECH. I think. I don't know. You tell me if you know the story of CREECH better than me. You go ahead and let me know. Oh, look at that. Look at that killer shot of CREECH. That's his eyes. That's the tentacles coming off the back of his head. That's his arms. Woo! What a shot. Oh, yeah. Double page spread. Woo! Look at the size of that. That's my hand. Look at the size of CREECH. He's finally got a hold of the guy. He's got him with his tentacles even. He's not even grabbing him with his giant fucking CREECH arms. Killer book. We're still dealing with the black baby. I don't know what happened to the mom. Oh, our boy finally fucking eats it at the end of the book. That's great. What a shot. Woo! Die in the name of God. These are like blind cultists. That's it. Again, I don't know what the fuck happened to the baby's mom because the reporter dude is left with the black baby at the end because of course he is. What kind of white savior book would it be without the final shot being the white guy holding the black baby? The cuck, the white cuck holding the black baby. Now she's your responsibility, bud. Greg Capullo, man, you put together a great series here. Great little mini series. I like it a lot. CREECH gets a fucking thumbs up from me. Hope you guys enjoyed my autistic deep dive into pencils and inking. I hope you have a little better understanding of how the delineation of labor between pencilers and inkers works in mainstream American comics. If you have some mainstream American comics that are burning a hole in your collection that you want to get rid of, you can send them to me. P.O. Box, Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. If you've got books in your collection that you would love to see me go down, drill down into autistic detail talking about, throw them in the mail. Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. If you are a comics creator, you make your own books, and you want to see them featured here on the channel, just like Ron Thewin did. Ron Thewin. He sent me his Dilligaff comics. I don't know what Dilligaff stands for. I'm not sure I'm supposed to know what Dilligaff stands for. I just know that Ron's art is super fucking cool, and these little mini comics contain 2 stories each. He sent me 3 of them. Here's another one. We looked at this one in another video. Let's look at Dilligaff. What does it mean? I don't know. I don't know that I'm supposed to know. Look at that art. Ron's awesome. So Ron was featured in an anthology by Adam Yeater. I sort of spoke it into existence, and Ron was kind enough to send along some of his books, and he has absolutely beautiful art. We're going to do an issue. We're going to do an episode covering Ron's books, and we'll do an issue covering your books too if you send them my way. P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. That's going to do it for us here, gang. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're only 75 subscribers away from hitting that glorious 1,000 mark where let me get my graphic up here, that 1,000, we're only 75 subscribers away from hitting that glorious 1,000 subscriber mark where the channel becomes fully monetized. They can put ads on it, much to your chagrin, of course, but that gives me more money. That allows me to put more money into the production of the show, give you a higher quality show. And as a thank you, when we hit that with just 75 more subscribers, a big thank you, I'm going to put my 164-page graphic novel Space Worms up for free on the Patreon link below. That'll be free for a month once we hit that glorious 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you like the video, make sure you're subscribed. About 40, 50, 60% of the people who watch these videos are not subscribed. So you'd be surprised. You probably aren't. Click that subscribe button. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. That helps with the algorithm. That they will boost this video out to more and more YouTubers on their homepage when the video is watched to its fullness to the end. So appreciate you sticking around this long, gang. I am Kevin Strange. I'm getting out of here. I hope you stay strange.